What's up, guys? My name is Jake. Welcome to Abandoned, episode 17. This is the show where we talk about some of the coolest abandoned places in the world. There's always been one infamous ride in Epcot that has been beloved by hundreds of thousands of people. One of the only rides in Epcot to grow such a caring and strong fan base only to eventually be abandoned. And that's the Imagination Pavilion. Now, as of right now, the building is still operational. However, it has the entire second floor still abandoned. If you don't know what the pavilion is, basically it's themed after, well, obviously, the human imagination. The pavilion has its distinct two glass pyramid design and houses a theater and one ride. Geographically, the pavilion itself is located in Epcot, obviously, and Future World West next to the Land Pavilion. So way back in the 80s, when Epcot was in its construction phase, the Imagination Pavilion was to be a day one attraction. However, with the mess that was the construction and budget of Epcot Center, the opening date was slightly delayed. Classic Epcot took a focus on technology and showcasing it, so the Imagination Pavilion was a little outside of where they were shooting for. Legendary Imagineer Tony Baxter was assigned to create a pavilion for the Kodak Company. Journey into Imagination was one of the ideas they came up with, and it was an odd mix of what was already a unique and technology-heavy future world. Allegedly, the contract Kodak signed with Disney forced them to update the attraction to keep up to date with current technology every 10 years. This would make it fit inside Future World. As for the design of the building, well, it actually didn't change too much. From its original design, it didn't change much to what we actually got. To be honest though, I definitely think the earlier renderings of the pavilion look actually a lot better than what it does now. The rock work and the theming of the crystals coming out of the ground, it actually looked pretty cool. However, when the pavilion was constructed, it actually looked really inspiring. In March of 1983, the pavilion officially opened to the public. When the ride opened, it was actually one of the most technically impressive rides to date. It also brought something Epcot didn't have, and that's the character Figment. So the pavilion opened with its main attraction, Journey into Imagination, which was an 11-minute attraction that took you on an adventure with the Dreamfinder and Figment. Above the main floor attraction, inside the glass pyramid, sat ImageWorks. This was praised for its use of technology and imagination. The area hosted different small attractions and activities guests would enjoy with creative illusions and the use of current technology at the time. This was also the place where the infamous Rainbow Tunnel where Michael Jackson stood. And really, the inside of the glass pyramids, the view inside is truly inspiring. So with the late 90s approaching, the ride was up for renovation. By this time, you have to remember that Epcot was in its prime, and the ride had built up a huge fan base and was infamous for its characters. However, with the ride 15 years old, it needed an update. Kodak as a sponsor wanted to change some things about the ride, some being aesthetics, others being design. The biggest problem for Kodak with the ride at its current state was its maintenance costs. So on October 10th, 1998, the ride closed to go under a renovation. Then after a rather short renovation, it opened again on October 1st, 1998 as Journey into Your Imagination. And the response wasn't all that good. Actually, that's an understatement because people hated this ride. Due to budgetary issues, the ride track was actually shortened severely to make it 5 minutes rather than its previous 11 minutes ride time. See, the thing was, Kodak was laying off thousands of employees, and they really just couldn't put up the money for a full revamp of the ride. The ride also made Figment less a part of the ride, as he only appeared limited times in a few scenes. Another thing they removed completely was the presence of the Dreamfinder. To everyone, this was a big blow to what was guests' favorite attraction, and many would say that this ride completely ruined the pavilion. After the bomb that was this renovation, Disney quickly took notice on how bad the public took this ride and closed the ride just 2 years after its opening. With the budget cuts of 1998, the second floor of the structure, all of ImageWorks, was completely closed off to guests. Nothing was removed on the second floor, leaving all the past exhibits completely abandoned. So like I said, with Disney aware of the disaster that was Journey into Your Imagination, the ride closed on October 2nd, 2001. If you notice the timing too, this was when Disney was making serious budget cuts by closing rides. The new renovation took just a little under a year. The new and current version of the ride opened on June 2nd, 2002 as Journey into Imagination with Figment. They really wanted to hammer in Figment for this ride. Anyway, this ride was better than its previous iteration, but nowhere near the 80s version. Later on in 2010, Kodak, a sponsor for the pavilion for 27 years, finally let go. Personally, I've been on this ride a few times, mostly because I had time to kill in the park, and honestly, it's really not that good of a ride. Journey into Imagination with Figment is rated one of the worst rides in Disney. By the way, the entire second floor still remained abandoned throughout all of this. As of 2016, the pavilion isn't looking so good. As for the second floor, well, actually recently, for the first time in 18 years, have seen things actually change. In early of 2016, it was announced that a portion of the second floor, mainly the area inside the glass pyramid, would be turned into a Disney Vacation Club lounge. Not the most exciting use for the space, but at least something will be made of it. The entire pavilion itself seems very temporary in a way. On the right and under the glass pyramids, we have the Imagination ride and exhibits. To the left of that, still connected to the structure, we have the theater. In 1989, it hosts the famous Captain EO starring Michael Jackson. This closed in 1994 to make way for a new show called Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. This show was cancelled in 2010 and replaced by the original Captain EO in honor of Michael Jackson's death. This show lasted up until December 6, 2015, when it was replaced by Disney and Pixar's Short Film Festival. Yeah, I don't get it either. So with a lackluster and low-populated show and an arguably bad dark ride, what could Disney do to the pavilion with the second floor? Well, just basically a lounge. Honestly, that's all it is. It's an exclusive to Disney Vacation Club members, and it really is just something to fill in the space. However, it does have one redeeming quality, and that's their Coke machine. I'm 100% serious. Have you seen those things before? They have like 165 flavors. Are you kidding me? Vacation Club is now worth it for me. Anyway, when they built this, or remodeled this I should say, people assumed that the space had now been used and that all the abandoned exhibits would be gone. Well, actually that's not the case. In fact, none of the existing abandoned exhibit space was used. What I mean is the corridor that leads into the actual exhibit area was sealed off. So even though there isn't confirmation that this is true, it's assumed that all the remaining exhibits are still there, completely abandoned. Lately though, the whole pavilion has been looking pretty dated. A lot of the structural architecture on the bottom definitely shows its age, and it's not getting better as the days goes on. I think in Future World, aesthetically, the Living Seas is probably a little more dated looking. However, overall, I think the Imagination Pavilion is just in worse shape.
Real nice. Half the jets are messed up.
So what does the future hold to the Imagination Pavilion? Well, I'm actually not sure. Apparently Disney can't find the answer to that either. In 2008, Disney allegedly filed for the pavilion's demolition. For some reason this didn't go through, however budget cuts may have played a part in it. Personally, I think the space has reached its lifespan. I think it's ready for something completely new. The thing is though, since Disney did make the addition of this lounge, it kinda is showing that the pavilion is going to stay the same for a little longer, which honestly is a shame. The honest truth is, Epcot is not in the best condition right now. I mean, look at Innoventions right now. What even is Innoventions anymore? Overall, and to sum this up, Epcot needs a lot of work, and the Imagination Pavilion is a great example of how dated Future World really is. So at the end of the day, if Epcot is the 6th most visited theme park in the world, it should probably be treated better. Personally, what I think should happen is the pavilion should be torn down, make whatever in its place move up forward to take the space in between the land and the new pavilion, and work with the larger space. The reason why I would move this up is because this would allow the Canadian pavilion to expand with a log flume ride. This was actually planned way back and never built, and this would actually give World Showcase a real thrill ride. So if you make this new pavilion up forward, you get a new ride in World Showcase, plus you're getting a brand new pavilion that has the potential for multiple rides inside. All of this would be stupidly easy to market to people, and people would absolutely just come for the log flume ride in World Showcase. This sounds good, right? The abandoned second floor of the Imagination Pavilion actually became somewhat of an infamous place for urban explorers in Disney, one of whom being Leonard Kinsey, the author of The Dark Side of Disney. It's a book all about him documenting his experiences Disney probably doesn't want you to know about. And it's worth mentioning that you can listen to this book on audible.com. If you're like me and have literally no time to sit down and read a book, you can just listen to it. And even if you're not interested in that specific book, Audible has over 250,000 book titles, which is kind of incredible. So guys, if you want to check it out and get a 30-day free trial, all you need to do is go to audible.com/BSF, or by just clicking the link in the description. So guys, when you're supporting them, you're in return supporting us and more content like this. Anyway guys, my name is Jake. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you very much for watching.